This is BrianVee at Whywework, and I still have the great pleasure of speaking to Eric Burial. Is that correct, sir?
It is.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
And your day is just beginning, from what I understand. You're
Shit.
only
I've been up for about 5 minutes now.
Thank you for accommodating the schedule. But you're not an easy guy to get a hold of. I mean, we'll get into this in a little bit, but you work late nights, right? Is that
Yeah.
that's fair to say? So Eric, you have been you have a little idea of what this is about why we work. Can you tell us a little bit about you? I mean, you and I known each other since I think 2005.
Yeah.
But honestly, we could probably say we don't know a lot about each other, even though we work together. We know, superficial sort of thing. What can you tell us about you, and especially in terms of work?
Well, I'm a waiter. That's my job. I mean, I love working in restaurants. I've been a waiter and bartender for many years as well. I was that before I went to Korea.
Well, what about
And
when you're
that's
in your wee younger days, in our younger days, way back when? We'll get into what you're doing now, but when did Eric's journey begin?
well, my first job, I think I was 15, and it was as a pack boy in a supermarket.
Where is it you're from?
Gatineau, Quebec, right next to Ottawa,
Gatineau,
just on the
yes.
border.
Is that the Gatineau Rouge? The Quebec
The what?
Major, the Quebec Major Junior team. What is the Gatineau? The
The Gatineau Olympics.
the Olympic. Okay, I thought they had a
And yeah, and
Rouge.
well, this is where the Casino Lac Limay is as well. The casino in Canada they keep talking about, it's here in Ottawa. Well, in Hull.
Is where? Yeah, you're in Ottawa now, though, is it?
No, I'm in Gatineau,
Oh,
right
you
next
are.
to Ottawa, on the
Okay.
Quebec side. Yeah.
So at 15, why did you decide you wanted to pack some? Was it groceries, or you're packing groceries for the
It was
business
it's
or
a pack
people?
boy in a grocery store,
Yeah.
and why? Because well, my mom wanted me to get a job, and it was one of her friends that opened a supermarket, so they got me to work there, and that didn't last very long. I've never been a really big worker.
Well, that's it. Why did your mom want you to get a job?
She was always helping me, and she says, you want your own money, you need to, get a job to buy your own things. So that lasted maybe a week and a half, and then I still got everything I wanted from my mother because I'm an only child.
Why did it? I forgot totally that I think I packed groceries at IGA back in the day. Um, why did it only last a week?
I didn't really like it. I mean, I have some of my friends have been working since they've been 11 and 12 years old. Me, my
Yeah.
first job was at 15, lasted a few weeks, and then I didn't work again until a few years later because I'm an only child and my parents are divorced.
Yeah.
Therefore, they felt really bad and
Yeah.
I always got everything I wanted. I never had to work. But then when I got to my early 20s and then my mom said, cut me off, well, that made me mad because now I says, I have to start working and I'm in my early 20s and I've never really worked in my life, but I have to work now.
Was there so in cutting off, I don't want to get too personal, but in cutting off, did that mean you were out on your own? You had to find a job? Did you have new bills to pay that you never had to pay before? What was the awakening that said, this is real?
I, I had a fancy lifestyle. I liked many things, like guitars and many things, and spent a lot of money. And that's why my mom said I need to get a job because she was sick of paying for all these things for me. She would buy me something, I would use it once or twice, sell it, buy something else.
And
So
keep
she
the
did not
money.
like that.
Keep the
Exactly,
money.
always buying and selling.
Mom, will you buy me this? Good, because she won't give you the money, and then you go sell it. Then you get the money.
Exactly. And then she caught on to that, and she did not like that I was doing that.
So what was your first when you woke up to the idea of work? Thinking back now,
Oh,
can you think of, I mean, maybe the hindrance it gave you, maybe the downside that it gave you of not like your friends working at 11 and 12 and understanding maybe a greater importance? Can you appreciate it a little bit better now? Like what do you see in hindsight from what you were doing? And don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing at you. I milked my mom a few times too.
Well, look at it this way, Brian. I mean, I'm 49 now. I'm going to be 50 next year. I have no steady job because, like, the restaurant business has gone down a lot. I have to find a new job. I have no pension fund. So, in hindsight, I think I say, yeah, I mean, it was all fun and games. I mean, I traveled the world from 1996 to 2008, on and off, and I never got a real job, and I'm paying for it now. So I mean, it's good to want to travel and have fun, but future wise, believe me, I mean, I have kids now, and I know that no pension fund, and it's not easy.
Okay. I mean, that's a really honest assessment of what happened. And because I find with just few interviews I've done, it's hard for people when they have a job. Like, so if I asked you, how's your waitering job? It's hard to say the full truth about the job because you don't want to get in trouble. But I think that's a really good assessment of, and a warning to people not to play around,
Oh,
right?
no, because you will pay for it. You will pay for it later on. I mean, it's fun. It's all fun and games. Like I said, I was 25, and I was working at the government. They offered me a full-time job, very high salary, and I says, no, I want to go see the world first. And from that day, I mean, I was never able to put my foot down somewhere stable to have, like, a solid future. So yeah, I mean, I have a good job, I make good money in that, but as I says, it's the future I don't have, and that's always when you have children. That's always not good.
Yeah, and I like to be, try to find the sunny side of things. You're only 49,
That's
right?
right.
You're only 49. You have from life's experiences a good 30 years of working ahead of you. If you really want it, a good 50, 70 years of life ahead of you. So it's not all gloom and doom. You could find something if you wanted to. Would you not agree?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I know that I have many years left to work. I mean, that's what I'm trying to find right now is a solid career so that I can have at least a little pension before I retire.
Yeah.
But there's not much hope because, I mean, there's not many companies for good jobs that want to hire a 50-year-old person. Companies go for younger people because it's less training for them. The staff is going to give them more years. So it's kind of hard, like if I like I want to work in construction. Well, I go see a construction company and they say, well, wait a minute, this guy's almost 50, and this kid here is 23. He's been working in construction for a few years and he's got his cars. Who are they going to hire? They always go for the younger people. It's the same thing like in office buildings and that. So it's getting tougher and tougher to find a job. When I came back from Korea in 2008 is when I should have really looked for a career. When I was still in my 30s and I still had, you know, time for government jobs and that. Even the government, I've been trying to apply to the government. I get passed up many times, and I'd have to say that's because of my age. If I had a business, Brian, I would do the same thing. It's not that I don't want to hire older people. It's just that a younger person is going to cost me less money. I can train them just once and have them maybe work 20 more years, which will make the business go up. But for me, I've always thought, like, working in that, it's all part of the game. It's just, if you have a good job, you're just part of the game. That's all you do. You're just contributing to the actual game. Because to me, there's no amount of money that is worth being away from my family for so long, just so I can bring the money back. To me, we're all playing the game. So
Hmm.
if I have to play the game and be away from my family and all that, just to have a bit more money, I'd rather make less and
Hmm.
to play a different game.
Well, at least you're not saying and not make any,
No. Of course, you
right?
have to make some. You have to
Right.
make something because, I mean, I don't understand. Like, some people, they say, "Well, we'll live on the government checks and that." I don't want that. I had this PCU there, the Canadian Government Help. I had that for 4 months,
Hmm.
and now I can work. I work on and off. I don't want to go back on the PCU. I want
Yeah.
to try to find things by myself. It kind of gives me that sense of accomplishment. But
Absolutely.
yeah. But like I said, I mean, I just want to be back in the game.
So, Eric, on a side, like what would you prefer to do? Like, just like, I think in one way, I don't think you are, but not to think too much of age. But in an ideal situation, what would you like to do? Would you, like to get into government? What would be your ideal position now, just with the insight that you have?
Oh, firefighter. But I can't. I mean, I'm too old for that. But firefighter has been the job. I had my opportunity when I was young, when I was 22. They came and got me from college, and I could have gotten there, and I chose not to because I was a lot into the drug scene when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, smoking a lot, and I
Yeah.
just decided to do that instead, which was in hindsight, well, not a good idea.
Is the military an option?
Same thing, too old, and with my knees, I can't.
I mean, the military, the good thing compared to, say, the American military, Canadian military doesn't have an age limit. They have an age limit as long as you're able to finish your contract up until retirement age, which is, don't quote me, but like 54, 50, no, maybe 64. Is it 50, 54, 50? Is one of those ages. You're within the time frame. So as long as you can do your 3 to 5 years or whatever it is that the contract is, you're not too. The American military is you need to be 39. Like,
Okay.
and even regular force, I think, is like younger than that. So I look every once in a while, and the military, the Canadian military, because they'll find a position for you. Right. That's the good thing about the Canadian, and that's a good thing about Canada too. You and I were having a conversation a moment ago, thinking about would I ever go back. I have no problem personally with Canada. My dear wife, just with family situations and just her experience, prefers Korea. But I don't have a specific problem with Korea, and I could work in any job if I was to be hired. And I have looked several times in the Canadian military. I think it's it's a form of the game that is willing to pay you as long as you don't have any. You mentioned your knees. Are they real problems or just your personal, ow, my knees hurt? Like, did you ever get them tested?
Well, see, I mean, I tore my MDL 20 years ago.
Yes.
So the fact that that's done and that's been repaired right there, that's enough to not be accepted because I
Okay.
tore my MDL.
Okay.
But I know it's like I said. I mean, I wouldn't go in the military right now because like I said, I mean,
About being away
just
from
just
family too.
just to join this game, this ridiculous rat race that we're in, to be away from my family and all that, it's not worth it for me. I mean, I'll go on my line of credit and it'll be the same thing. I mean,
Yes.
I don't mind, owing it, but to me, it's not worth it. Like money, money is not everything, and to many people, money is everything. Many people will sacrifice everything they got for money, but it's only paper. You can't take it with you. You can't do anything with you. I mean, my mother, she has a lot of money. I always tell her, Mom, what's more important, money or family? To me, family is more important than money. To her, her money is very important. But I always say, listen, if you're in trouble later on in life, your money is not going to save you. Your
Hmm.
family will. Your family is going to help you, you know, and not your friends. No, your family is going to help you. So if you join, if just to fit into this planet, you go away, you separate from your wife and kids many months a year. What's the point? You miss out on the best things in life to have something that you can't take with you and you can't remember. It's only money. You can't take it with you and you can't look at. What are you going to do? Put it on your wall and look at it? I mean, it's like, so some people, and I know some people here, they'll get some jobs. Okay, they're going to go up, they're going to go work in James Bay for a month or two, come back here for 3-4 days, go back to work for 3-4 months, and they'll do that for a few years. And they say, well, so we make good money. I know you make good money, but you don't see your kids. You don't play around with your wife and your family and all that. You don't
Yeah.
get to, all that for money. At the end of the day, is it really worth it? Because they say like time is money and our time is important. Our time on this planet is short as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, and the important things in life, like you would say, I mean, I'll quote, like you believe in religion, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It'd be the same thing as that. So believe, believing in your family is the same thing as for those who believe in Jesus and stuff like that. Jesus, did he work like a son of a bitch all the time? No, he did. They didn't work like crazy people all the time because they were there for love and family and togetherness. And that's what the world is lacking today.
Yeah.
I think.
And
I think that's why the world is in this state, because people are going too much after the almighty dollar. It's always about money. Now, don't get me wrong. I like money as well, but money is only paper.
Well, no, you're touching on something that is there is certainly a balance, and you probably may have met some Korean people where, and actually, you and I were talking about this as a business proposition a few months ago, who the Korean fathers live in Korea and they send their families to Canada or another country. And I know of families who have sent their children for 10, 20 years and get to see their child a couple months of year out of the year, or maybe not even that. For me, I would never do such a thing, right?
Me neither.
You know, like and what they're trying to do is but for their reasons, I would have to give it to them. Like, so for them, they think Korea is too difficult for their children, so they're trying to get them out of there, but there's no place for the father to work in Korea or in Canada because he doesn't speak the language and he doesn't have a job skill in Canada, or it would be too much for him. I know one in particular, it was just too much for him to transfer his Korean skills into Canadian skills, and he would have lost before he would have gained. So he stayed here while his 4 daughters lived in Canada, and they still live
Okay.
there. And that was when I first met you. They were just leaving then, and
Okay.
they're still there. So I see there is a balance, and there's something that I wouldn't do, but I also have friends who work on oil rigs, right, or work out in the oil field, or what you mentioned up north. So you're talking about up doing oil too.
Well, no, like James Bay, that's where all the hydro dams are. Like,
Hmm.
the big James Bay, Hudson's Bay and James
Yeah,
Bay.
yeah,
Yeah, well, for Quebec, I mean, that's where they send everybody to work up there for the hydro and the hydro lines and stuff like that. So they work on that. Like, well, I know many people who work on hydro lines as well. They install the lines, they get paid really well. But that's another thing. I mean, they're gone for weeks and months on end from their family just to go do this job.
so what
And
do
they
you
say it's always about. It's like I say, it's always about money. Everything
so
is about.
if you can't do the thing you'd really like, your dream job, like I would like to be a fighter pilot, but I get sick on elevators, so I don't think I would be a really good fighter pilot, or at least a pilot with no bombs on it. um if you couldn't be a firefighter, what would you like to do? Because you mentioned that you're doing something and it is not as stable as you want it to be. What would you like to do? What would you like to reach out and try?
I'd have to say, just like my good buddy in Office Space, do nothing.
I think I watched that the other
Yeah, I
just
would
do I
like.
watched that.
I would. What I would like to do, Brian. Seriously, I would like to have money so I wouldn't have to work. But I would work every day. But I would just go volunteer. That's all
Yeah.
I would do. If I had money, that's what I'd do. I'd go work and volunteer, give my time to all sorts of organizations and that. But see, we have to earn money so we can pay for everything. If I
Hmm.
had money to pay for everything, I would give my time to people who need it. And see, and that's the thing. I think that's the way the world should more look at it. And in this way, we'd be less in shit because everybody would help each other.
Right.
Me, like I said, I mean, like, well, right now I wouldn't go work in a seniors home because of this COVID-19 thing, and the
Uh-huh.
seniors home have it a lot. But I mean, a couple of days a week, I'd go work in a soup kitchen. Go serve food for the people. I'd go help with some organizations here that have people in wheelchair. I'd go give them a little bit of help.
Have you ever
Help them.
tried, Eric, to go to a hospital to
Yeah.
work as like an orderly or any of those types of positions? Those
Oh yeah.
those are
Those jobs.
great
I mean,
places. Like, you can see the people who are in real need, and they
what
appreciate people who are helpful.
well, see, like I said, I was telling my wife this last week. I said, yeah, I know there are jobs in the hospital fields right now,
Yeah.
and I know that they pay well, but that's where all the COVID-19 things are in the hospitals and that. So I'm thinking, I says, yes, I don't mind helping out, but I'm not ready to risk my life and my family's life just to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go work in the hospital right now and I get COVID and bring it home, I endanger my family just for the almighty dollar. And to me, that's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I went to a restaurant today, and in some way or form, they're putting themselves, and I guess you as a waiter, putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, but
Uh,
we wear like the face like big plastic face guards.
yeah, yeah,
You have to wear those in the restaurants.
yeah, yeah.
And Canada, I don't know how it is in Korea, but in Canada, there's nothing on the tables, nothing at all. So when you come, we bring you everything. Your napkin, your food, bring you everything. So customers don't touch anything, and they're separated as well. There's a
Yeah.
distance between each table as well. So I don't know how it is in Korea. I don't know if 'cause I remember what the restaurants are. You go in there
Yeah.
and they're all like little tables, like 1 foot from the floor, and everybody's sitting together, and everybody's
I was
smoking in
at
the
one
rest.
tonight.
Yeah, smoking in restaurants, and they have their dogs in the restaurant, and it's an experience. Now, but
There was no
you were
dog
saying
today
like,
and
hey,
no smoke. There was no dog and no smoking today. They got
oh,
they dogs are well adored here in Korea now.
I know, and they eat the freaking things, man. They eat
They're,
the goddamn animals.
they're changing their perspective on the dog. It's
Do you
become the new
remember?
idol.
Do you remember, Brian, the first dog that I bought? Were you there when I bought that dog?
I think I was. Yes, I vaguely
Yeah,
remember, but I do remember. You and I were
he lived for
neighbors.
he
We were
yeah
next door neighbors.
yeah he lived for 1 week and then he died because he was a street dog. He was an eating dog. They were selling this dog to eat it. But you know what, Brian? I'll always remember the first night that I met you. We went to the Kiss and Kiss, the pub
Oh no.
with
I might
Aaron
have
and
to
Sarah.
I might have to edit this out.
Okay, well, we're not, but it was just a good night, man. We had a good time.
Yeah. I
But anyways, and just what I was saying, that project I was saying to you like last month, working for the English camp thing.
yes.
To me, it's because Brian, I see this. If you do this two people and it's done right, it's between $50,000 and $75,000 each for 3 months' work. You got 9 months off of the year. That's what I wanted to do. To me, like that is more working because I'd have time in the year to do what I'd want to do. Because at the price, the thing you can do, I mean, you're only open for 10 weeks in the summer. You only got two camps with 3 weeks each, so you're only there for about 8 weeks plus 2 weeks preparation before and a week after maybe. So if you make 50 or 75 grand a yearly salary, you make that in 3 months. You don't have to work for the rest of the year.
Well,
That's why when you were telling me, well, you were thinking, oh, you'd like to maybe come back to Canada, it all depended work and that, and you want to get out of teaching. I says, this is a good opportunity because this is not only teaching. This, you're playing with the kids. You're their camp counselor for the summer for 2 different camps, and then they go home and you have a lot of money in your pocket for the whole winter. So I think as seasonal jobs where you do that for 3 months, the rest is off. So October to May, you do nothing besides just you can prepare a few hours for the next year's camp, but that's it. I already even have a place here, and I think that they're the ones that take care of the cleaning and the food and everything. We just, we can have up to 200 kids at that camp if we want. They have the lakes and they have everything. So that's why I wanted to do that, Brian. It was just because it's something that's fun. I liked teaching, and that was fun.
mhm.
I'd love being a camp counselor because do things like go kayaking with the kids and play outside. I love doing that, and the money would be good. So to me, I don't see very many negative points. That's why I brought it up to you because
Oh, it's absolutely a good thing, and I've heard of people doing it, and my dear wife has had that. I mentioned that to you in our emails. My dear wife has that thought of doing something like that. We're just not in a position to do anything like that, or I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. But if someone listens to this and they want to do that adventure with you, how could someone contact you, Eric? How would you do, like, Instagram, or obviously you do Facebook because that's how I got you, but
oh yeah, I've got the
some
Facebook. I've got MSN. But see, the thing is that Brian is to do this. I mean, I'd want another person that's with me that I know well. I mean, that I trust. You understand? I mean, even though Brian, we didn't really know each other in that. For some reason, I don't know why, but I trust you. I'd even leave my life in your hands. That seriously. I mean, and we don't really, we know each other, but not
Mhm,
that much. But from what
mhm.
I've gathered, from what I've picked up from you over the years and what you were talking about and the things you went through and how you came out at the end, I just have more trust. I mean, even my friend Mike that was over there, he's still my friend. I wouldn't do that with any of my friends I had over there. You're the only one I would have done this with because I don't know. I trust you.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I appreciate that immensely, Eric, and I do, like you. And as I don't think we said it during the recording, but you were at my wedding. You one of the very few. There's another one, actually, Chelsea. She will be interviewed on Friday. I don't know if you remember. There's a few Waygookins, as we say, foreigners at our wedding, just because the lack of them. But you were there, front and center, And I truly appreciate that. My dear wife appreciates that. And you never know, that offer may become of use for in some unknown time. But
Oh, you
honestly,
never.
yeah, it's a good idea.
I think, anyways, Brian. I think no matter what, it would not be before 2023. With everything that's going on right now, it would
Yeah.
not be before 2023.
Any sort of camp is booted to the curb, I think, for the next couple of years.
Well, see, now we have a trailer. We went camping, and it's different. Like, like there's many things in the campground that's not open. You have to, there's distancing. Some slots are not even open.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not going to be the same. So that's why I'm thinking maybe 2023,
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think that if I could do that, well, I'd like it because I would enjoy it. I think it would be fun.
So
And like I
Eric,
said, it would give.
go ahead. Yeah, it would give.
Oh, I think it's like I said, it would just give me time to do like the other things I'd want, like volunteer and stuff like that, because I'd be able to,
So
and
what
I'd
is it
spend time with my. Hey,
with your family? Yes.
yeah.
What
So
is it
yeah,
that you do? You're waitering. So is this a pub? I don't know if you call it a pub or a bar, or is it a restaurant?
no, I'd say it's a restaurant. I mean, it's a 4-star restaurant. It's like I bring the food and stuff like that. I mean, I used to be a bartender as well,
Yeah.
but now I'm looking for government jobs or like different options. And I hope. I mean, I've been
Well,
told that
I was trying to get in with the waitering position, but then you switched to the government job. So I want to know what you do on a regular basis, but also if you're switching gears so quickly, how active are you with trying to find the job that you're hoping for, the government job? I
Well,
mean, you're bilingual too, so you can click those boxes that I can't click, right?
yeah.
And so, I mean, that's a great asset regardless of your age, especially nowadays. So are you active? I mean, I always say like be full-time getting a job. If you don't have the job you want, be full-time trying to find it, full-time working towards it. Like when you're up, you have free time, you're revising your resume, you're looking online, you're knocking on these places. I mean, Eric, you got jobs out here and that's not easy. It wasn't easy, right? And you got
Oh no, I
jobs in your
know.
life. So what are you active in trying to find a job? Are you
I am.
really active?
Yeah, I am. Like, I mean, like as a waiter, I mean, it's a nice job and all that, but I want the government because, as I said, like waiter does not have a pension fund.
Yeah.
At the government, I will have a pension fund. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. And thing like having sick days and holidays, and like being a waiter and that, like I get my 2 weeks vacation off, and if I take time off, it isn't paid. If my kids are sick, it's harder for me to stay at home.
Yeah.
Because if I work for the government and my kids are sick, I could stay home with them and still get paid for my work. As a waiter, I'm staying home, but I will not get paid. Do you understand?
So for the last 4 months, you mentioned about not working, or you got I'm not familiar, PCP, was it?
Yeah, we were in a quarantine. We got the PCU, which is $2,000 a month.
So how active were you during that time in trying to actively seek out a job, like going to websites and doing whatever possible? Were you diligently doing it, or you're just like, I can still just do this other job for now? How
I
active?
was,
How?
I didn't really search because, well, one, I mean, like the country is on hold right now. No company is hiring. Everybody's actually laying
It's
off.
now listen, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I listened to a guy named, you should listen to him, Gary V. And I have a different, I think, view from him, but he's like, if there was ever a time for you to switch gears in life, if there was ever a time for you to flip the boat over, flip the table over and do something different, it's because the world seems to be on hold. Like Korea was on hold before Canada was on hold. And the thing is, if you're not like, okay, do you know what? For a lack of better terms, like screw them, whoever they are, and I'm gonna get my resume ready. I'm gonna search these sites. I'm gonna email them. I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna walk up to these people's door and I'm gonna say, listen, sir, in the back of your mind, just say, I don't care about who's making what money and what game this is and almighty dollar and all this. I want a job for the next 20 years. And sir, I'm the man, or ma'am, I'm the man to have this job. This is the time to do it, right? Because a lot of people are sitting back on their arse and saying, well, you know, this is just the time and we'll never know. No way. I'm taking every advantage of this opportunity. And I'm not just saying me, but lots of people are. I finished, and I don't want to say what I do, but the thing is, Eric, you are a man that I know. You're very smart. You and I would stay up late at nights and have a bottle of wine and talk. And you're a smart individual. And I know you do what you do for whatever reasons you do it, but also you have the ability to get the job that you know that you need to help support your family. So what's holding you back from switching the gear to be, like you said, you talked to your wife about it. So obviously that's a conversation that you guys are having at the table, right?
Yeah.
So what's stopping you? I heard you so many times say, "Oh, the mighty dollar." I know all that stuff. I understand all that. But do you know what? We got to work. We're people. We got to work. We have kids. We have a wife that we have to stay that be pleased. We have, things we want to do and all this. And you already learned when you were a kid that you can't just live off your mama's stuff, and then you can't live off the government stuff. And so when is it you're going to say, do you know what? I'm going to be active. I'm a waiter. I don't have to take my work home with me. I might be tired, but I got the morning. I can get up. I can look at this. I can look at this. I can reply to this. I can get on LinkedIn. I can get on social media.
Okay.
And then what's holding you back from doing that? Rather than say, I'm 50, my knee hurts, and I don't want to just chase the mighty dollar. But at the same time, you want the mighty dollar because time is running out. What's
Hold on
holding
there.
you what's holding you back?
Hold on there. I'm sending you a little text there that's telling you what's
Tell,
holding me back.
telling me to shut up.
Oh no.
Where's my phone? Oh, here's my phone. I don't know where my phone is. Is that your children or your wife? I know where
Oh, it's the kid. She's my daughter. She's watching TV in the living room.
That was a great answer, Eric. What?
So
Well, that I can't repeat that, right? I can't. That's why you sent it to me. But I get it. I get that. I experienced that.
oh yeah,
I
I know. That's what I was telling you earlier because we talked and about the past and that, and I know where you came from and all that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I know where I have to go. And it's just, I mean, what I do is not bad, but it's just like it kind of you become like a procrastinator. Everything slows down and just you put everything off and off and off. And to me, I mean, it's it's a big problem I find.
Yeah.
I'm
I
thinking this is it's not that bad. I mean, it's not like this is going to kill me, but
no.
it's just that it's slowing me down. It's holding me back.
So what is it? So why, whatever it is that you do or whatever it is that's holding you back, why is it holding you? If you don't mind me asking, like, what are you afraid to do? Why, like, I love work. I mean, I love, work is tough. Don't get me wrong, right? You worked last night, it was tough. I did work today, it's tough. Whatever it is, it has difficulty in it. But what is it I mean, you said it several times, which honestly, I didn't buy it for a minute. I nodded and I smiled and said, okay, the mighty dollar. I've heard people say stuff like that, but it's the fact of life, right? You could end life and say, I'm done with it. But I think you can look across your table or in wherever your kids are and look at your wife and say, no, I have too much of a responsibility on my shoulders to do that. Therefore, when are you going to say it's enough to pick that load up? And I'm all for equal rights and women's rights. And I'm not saying you have to carry your wife's load or any of that stuff. But when are you going to say, listen, this is time that I'm going to be active and not make an excuse? Because if I'm asking you how much time you put into it in the last 4 months and you're like, that means you're not willing to carry the load. You're not willing to step up. And for some reason, I don't know. I worked with a guy recently in the last couple of years in Canada, and he was 59 at the time, and his mother had money. And he always talked about his mother having money. And he always joked about when his mom dies, he's going to get the money. And I'm not saying that's what you're waiting for, but he's waiting for, but he loves his mom. He's waiting for the time that, like, this is going to be his payday when finally, okay, I'm going to get it. I don't want my mom to die, but I also don't want her to spend it all before she dies. But so he was like, I'll just drift through life. And he's now 61 and he's getting his pension. And it was just, he gets like, I don't know, whatever the pension is, $800 a month, right? You think about that in 10 years, that pension that you get is like 800. And he was able to get two pensions. And as he said, it was going to happen. And it does happen. One pension pays for the tax of the other, something like that. It's not enough. So
I know.
what's
So
holding
it's
you back? What's
this
holding
guy
you back?
sounds this guy sounds like me, man.
Oh,
That's me.
well, I'm
But
not going to introduce you to it.
no, but I mean, this guy sounds like me. It is what you're just saying. What this guy said, that's me. I'm the exact same way. Then I'm waiting for that day as well, man. And I'm guessing that.
I thought you're going to yell at me and say, how dare you? But I'm just
No, no,
saying
no,
it
no.
how.
I don't know. It's true. It is true. I mean, you cross a T perfectly there, and I'm waiting for that day as well. It's because me and my mother, we've always had issues and arguments over the years, always about money. It's always about money. We have we've never had a good relationship. I mean, we have like a fucked up relationship. I mean, it's a horrible relationship we have, and it's even the years I didn't speak to my mother. I remember this, like in '96 when I was in London and we didn't speak. We hadn't spoken for years, and people would ask me, "What about your mother?" I said, "Listen, I'd rather have my mother, even if I don't speak to her, than to have her money." So there is a part of me that like
You
this other guy. I mean, I'd want my mother there because she is my mother and that. But then again, there's another big part of me that says, well, once we're separated, it's going to be good. We'll be able to find peace, both of us, her way and me my way. And it's the money is just it's just a bonus. But sometimes I feel like just telling me keep your money and go away.
I understand that. Eric, you know what? I said this. I mean, I'm going to hopefully say this till the day I die. Um, it, and you mentioned, I don't think I realized, but you probably told me years ago that your parents were divorced. My parents were divorced and I never lived with my dad. Never. Not that I could remember. And from the stories I was told, they were divorced around the time I was in my mom's belly. My dad was probably around for a little bit and then they just had enough of each other and then they were done. Um, I could, and I did, have resentment towards my mom for many, many years. I can say I remember probably 2009 when you asked me if I was religious. I became Christian, but this is not a religious sort of spiel. Is the first time I remember telling my mom I love her.
Okay.
That's pretty crazy if you think that's only 11 years ago and I'm 43. That means I held resentment towards my mom most of my knowing life. I think when I was a little kid, I didn't know any different and I didn't have any problems with my mom. To be honest, one, two, three, I'm the baby. I'm like, yeah, whatever, 4, 5, 6. But then I, just start seeing some things and I didn't like some things that I saw. And then I became rebellious and then we didn't have a good relationship. And then I got shipped off and I came back home and I got shipped off again and kicked out again and kicked out again. And then I just kind of hated my mom. Right. But it wasn't like now looking hindsight, like having kids, life's tough. And can you imagine being a single mom trying to work? I mean, you can picture your mom and I don't know your mom. So maybe her story is different, but my mom growing up in the 70s, being an adult in the 70s alone, and trying to find her way. And after having been divorced, she had a pretty tough life. So after me saying, what I'm saying that you should look at is forgiveness, right? For
Okay.
whatever harm or wrong that she did. And I say you can't know forgiveness unless you've been forgiven, right? That's the major thing. If you've not been forgiven, you can't forgive someone else. But if you can look at forgiving your mom, like Eric, my mom died in February of cancer. And it came pretty suddenly. There was a year or whatever she was battling all this stuff. But I am so unbelievably grateful that I reconciled with my mom over the last few years. And every time we talk to each other, it's, I love you. And we didn't see each other much. And even when I was in Canada, we didn't see each other a lot. She had her own life. And that's where I kind of disagreed with your idea about the mighty dollar, because my aunt pinned my mom well. My mom was a hard worker. She worked 2 or 3 jobs all her life, but that's where my mom socialized. And I bet you if you think about your work at the waitering, you probably socialize well there. You kind of, it's like a, maybe
Yeah, all
you
the
hate
time.
it, right? I worked in bars, and that's like where you socialize, whether it's with the customers or with, you know, the other wait staff or chefs, or it's just a great place for, and that's where my mom thrived. She didn't thrive when she was by herself. That's where she did the most harm to herself, her most harm to me, right? Not intentionally, but it just indirectly harmed me in some way. But Eric, it's your mom. And
No, I know.
in all of her dreams, she never planned to hurt you or to spite you or to make whatever happened in your life the
But it
way it,
happened.
but it happened. But then what I do is I look at my own self, I look at how badly I fail without the fault of my mother, and say, well, wow, I'm pretty bad. I could understand how her faults are bad. I would hope someone would forgive me. So I certainly need to forgive her or anyone else that does me harm. So think of forgiveness, because I mean, that's just one way of not just waiting for her as the final ticket, but also enjoying the time that you have, because my mom was only 66 and she's gone. Right. And, you know, I mentioned to you at the beginning, which I think you already knew, is my wife's sister, 37, dead. Grandmother died last week, 91. And you said that we don't know how much time we have, but you don't want unforgiveness. You don't,
No.
you don't want unforgiveness. Even if it's just you reaching out and saying, Mom, if it was me, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I fall short of any sort of standard. So I don't know why I hold you to a higher standard than I can reach myself. Because if I can't reach that standard, why would I hold someone else up there? I failingly do it to my children. Like, why didn't you do your homework? Meanwhile, I'm not doing my homework. Or to my dear wife, why didn't you do this when I'm not doing that? We do it all the time. So Eric, forgiveness. I heard it once said, it's like forgiveness is the key to marriage. Like, you're married, you know, if we don't forgive each other, we're doomed. Right.
True.
And for a mom, if you don't forgive your mom, you don't want her, you don't want the last thoughts, the last words, her last breath to be, I have a son who resents me. No mother wants that.
Oh, no. We do speak, and everything is, it's okay, but it's just like, it's like a toxic relationship. I find, it's well, no, it's true. I mean, I find that, like, when I walk around her, I mean, I'll walk on eggshells, and I put on a different mask.
I did that too.
I'll
I
be
did that
different
with my
around her
mom.
all the time.
That's how
It's because,
exactly, that's exactly how I explain my mom, and any relative of mine that's listening knows that if you walk by my mom, you're walking on eggshells, because something's gonna happen.
yeah. Well, I say, like my mom was a psychologist, and I always says it's like that saying there, the cobbler put the shoe on the cobbler's wrong foot or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. I mean, she was one of the best psychologists around here, no problem. But when she got out of work and around her own child and her grandkids and her family and her friends, I says, "What the fuck are you doing? That's not you. You can't be a psychologist, man. You cannot be that fucking stupid and be a psychologist." And the word is like, stupid. It
That's a
was.
French word, is it not? Is
Ah, stupid.
not the other?
Yeah, well, so I mean, I don't know, and I told her this to her face once, and I guess she didn't like that when I told her that.
You
How do you say
think?
it in English? The shoes on the wrong foot, or how do you?
Yeah, yeah. The shoe's on the wrong foot, but yeah, something we would
It
say
has
like,
something to do with the cobbler as well.
yeah, don't turn the tables on me, or I don't know.
Anyway, something like that. And I
Don't be a
told her,
hypocrite. Yeah.
I told her once, is you're an excellent at your job. I have no doubt about that because, she's a psychologist for the police and everything. But it says, but when you're outside of your work, you're not. And that's where we'll have a problem because me, I'm more family oriented and she's more money oriented. See, to me, money is, we just need money to pay for this. But money is not important. It's not important like family because family will be there always. Money will not.
I agree to an extent. I agree to an extent that money. I mean, people always misquote the quote that says money is the root of all evils, but that's not the quote. The quote is the love of money is the root of all evils. So that's what trips
Yeah,
us up, and so we need it. In the end, the family would be there, but you know what? That family's going to have to eat lunch. So money's going to be there right to the very end.
that's
We just buried 2 family members in the last 2 weeks. And do you know what was needed? And do you know what lasts longer than family? Money, because we're still dealing with money matters right now as of
of
today,
course.
right? With
Of course, but you could be like the richest man in the world. When you die, are they going to stuff your coffin full of money? No, you're still gone. Your money is here, and your money is going to keep causing problems and going on. You're
yeah,
dead, but your money keeps going. So when you say why we work, well, we work because we have to. We work because that's the game on this planet. We're all puppets in the same sick play. And we have to work in order for the people ahead of us to get ahead. But the human being, I don't think the human being was made
I have a
with the
question
40
for you.
hours a week.
I have a
We weren't made to work 40 hours a week. We're made to, like some should be working the land. Some, we should be working like the Indians used to work. You work for each other. We help each other out. That life would be so much more fun, so much better for everybody.
I think we
Everybody.
do. I think we do. I think that happens in all societies. It doesn't look the same always. Because I can go to a farmland and people are trading apples or whatever for
Of
carrots.
course,
It's
the
happening, right?
planet should be like that. I mean, but no, the planet has surrendered to this false god there, this money, which is a false god really, because money seems to be the god on this planet. Everybody wants money, everybody craves it, everybody wants it, prays for it. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking it's like a god, it's a false god, and I think that I don't
I have
like I
a
said, we work because we have to.
I have a
That's it.
question. I have a question for you, Eric, if you don't mind me asking.
Mhm.
Do you think when you were younger, and I'm not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, do you think that your mom traded off relationship for money? And then in that sense, you feel that she went the wrong route right from the beginning and you were longing for that relationship and she never gave it? That's why
Well, money was always important. Look at it this way. I'll give you like one scenario here. It was my third year of high school. It was our first music concert, and all the kids, everybody had their parents there, and I wanted my mom to come more than anything because my dad, they were divorced since I've been 2, so I didn't see my father very much. And my mother, she chose to go to her sports club tennis tournament instead of coming to see me at my concert. So it was always about money or social things that was more important, and that's I don't know. I don't know if that's where I got pushed off from wanting to work. I don't know if that's where I pushed off, like that message I sent you. I don't know if that's where I pushed off to go in that direction because of that. But it's the same thing. Like it's the same as you. Like when my parents were divorced when I was 2, so I never lived. I never really remember living with my dad. I was supposed to see him once every 2 weekends,
Mhm.
but sometimes he wouldn't show up because he was playing golf. So I was pushed aside. I was always left, I was left on the side, raised by my mother. And my mother had 2 jobs, one day and one night. So I had a babysitter until I was 15 because she didn't trust me. Because the first time she left me alone, says no alcohol, no friends. What did I do? I had friends and I had alcohol. So I always had a babysitter. I didn't really see my mother very often. I can count on my hands the number of times we traveled in my life. So we never really had a relationship
Yeah.
because she wasn't there. And my father, well, even though we get along super well together, we speak every day. And my mom says I should be mad at him because he pushed me aside when I was young. It's more at her. And it was always about a lot was about money as well. Like when I got into my older years, like, in my late teens and early 20s, it was always about money. And that caused so much tension. So this thing, why we work for this money that causes tension between
So
me and my
what
mom.
was the tension with the money? Was it that you wanted more from her and she didn't want to give it, or she was just trying to tell you it's important to work?
No, the first thing, I wanted more from her, and
She
and
didn't
it's
want to give
I had to
it.
replace this. And I remember when I was 17, I was living with my mom, and she wouldn't lend me the car one night, and I had to go meet my friends in that. So I moved out and I moved in with my dad. So I changed schools and everything. And when I did that, it was the last 4 months before the end of high school. By doing that, I changed schools. Therefore, I never got my high school diploma, which I still don't. I got a college degree, but no high school diploma. And that's, because I lost all my friends. If I would have stayed with my mom, I would have graduated, probably went to university, had a steadier, more
Yeah.
fixed career. But no, I went the other way. And then that's when I jumped into that text I sent you. And I was there with my dad, man. I was hog free. I didn't have to work. He'd give me $20 every morning. He says, "Here you go, man. You need some gas today." So why would I work, Brian? I mean, I was 19 years old. He would give me $20 a day,
Yeah.
and I worked at the ski hill anyways. I still worked part time, and he gave me money every single day, even on the weekends. So why would I work?
Do you want to make it right with your mom?
It is, yeah, oh, yeah. Of course, I'd love to. I mean, it's quite okay, but there's still that lot of tension in the
Yeah,
back.
but as I said about without the forgiveness, it's never okay because you guys never really got to the depth of the issue. It's just kind of like you're okay today with walking on these eggshells. They seem good today, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you didn't dig under the eggshells to get to the goopity goop that's in the bottom. It's just you're right tippity toeing along and just doing your what are the common greetings and stuff like that. Hey, man, yeah, how's things going? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's true. Basically, like, so when I see my mother, it's like I become this fake person. I give her a smile and all that. But at the end, I think that the problem that we have, it cannot be fixed. It can't be fixed. The only thing that it has to be money. Like, I mean, she's helped me and my wife out, and I mean, I owe her about 35 grand, I would say. Now we're making payments. She doesn't need the money, and she just wants me to pay it. So it's kind of out of principle, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, she knows with this thing. I told her, I says, "Listen, Mom, I can't pay you for about, I'm going to stop for a couple of years to get back on my feet." Shit, man. 3 weeks later, I go buy a brand new truck.
I saw your brand new truck. I wasn't gonna bring up any brand new truck, but that's a nice truck you got.
Yeah, it's about a 2019. It wasn't supposed to go like that.
I don't know. Bing, bing, bing,
I don't know
boom.
what
I
happened, man. I
got a
just have a truck
keys.
all of a sudden. Boom. I woke up and there it was.
This is
But
not
no,
like
see,
a small truck either. This is a full blown truck.
the thing is that because we had a Santa Fe, a V6, and we have a hybrid trailer. Now the Santa Fe was enough to pull the trailer, but it was just borderline. So I told my wife, I says, "Listen, we need a truck." So I was allowed to go spend $7,000 for a truck.
Like who allowed that?
Well, Mom, my wife said I was 7 because we were going to sell the other truck. It was in 2012. It was paid for. We sold for a very good price. So I said 7 grand. Okay, so I started looking, and I go to Montbler Ford, the dealership, and my friend is the sales manager there. He's a
And look at
director.
this. They got big shiny trucks there. Who would have imagined that?
Well, no, so I go see him, and I says, he says, "Well, there's a 2010. It would cost me." He says it would cost. I'll give it to you for 10.7 taxes in. I says, "That's good." So I went to the bank, got the money, gave him 10.7 cash, and left with the truck. But it was rotten underneath. And usually, when you buy a used truck from a dealership, it's as is. You're stuck with it.
Hmm.
So I went to see him 2 days later. I said, "Listen, it's completely finished." I went to the body shop, and it would be 4,500 to fix it. I says, "What can I do?" He says, "Well, we're not again. We don't take him back and that." So he because he was my friend, he took it back. I looked at what else he had. He didn't have any, so I says, "Okay, I'll take that one there." And it ended up with $30,000 payments.
What a nice friend.
So yeah, so there. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be like that, but we're happy we have it because, well, it's good and it does the job. But like I said, now with this other problem I mentioned you about this money thing,
Yeah.
we have that now. And that's hidden. That can't come out, because if that comes out, then it's the beep, 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 beep. You know,
How, but
so
let's listen. Let's hope that your mom watches this. I
I
don't
would
know.
hope so. It's
What
not
would
going to happen, but I would
what
hope so.
what would you like to say to your mom? Because I mean, look at, you say your dad was always doing golf. If someone's always golfing, that means they probably have a pretty decent job generally. Not in, yeah, in Canada, maybe not. I mean, golf is not that expensive, but Korea is very expensive. But your dad would probably had a middle class job at least, to be golfing all the time and to give you money for no good reason. And then for your mom to, as you said, have the money that she has and going to tennis court uh, things with her friends. And so she's probably middle class. If you can look at your parents' work ethic, not their parenting abilities, could you at least give them the credit that they were actually pretty good workers?
Oh
They,
yeah, I have to say that my mom was an excellent worker, and my father as well. He worked for Intac Insurance, for 33 years. There's good workers, both of them. They
so,
have, and same thing. Like my wife is very good work as well. She's been working since she's been 11. Me, I'm not a good worker. I've been fucking around since I've been 11, basically. So I
your
don't do very much. But you
your
said like,
your wife must be very patient as she's in there making maybe some
oh
breakfast.
yeah, she's behind me, right? She's patient with me.
Hello.
Yes. See? Hi, yeah.
So if you're,
Brian from Korea.
Hi.
hello, nice to
Yeah.
virtually meet you. You must be a very patient woman, I think.
Yes, I am. I have in my job, I have in my life. So yeah.
Do we have some hope for Eric?
Yes, of course.
Good. And I think so. So we're going to get him and his mom together one day and have a good heart to heart. Do you think that's possible?
No.
C'est possible?
Well, he does a couple of time, but no, I think
Nem pas
With my
possible?
mom, you can't, Brian. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And
they're
Ah,
both stubborn.
I think that. I'm getting that sense.
They're like each. Comment on dit? Ça ressemble, vous ressemblez.
we're the same.
They're the same, one and the same. Birds in the
Yeah.
feather flock together.
Yeah. So I'm calming the game. Je calme le jeu.
Yeah,
You're in
she
between.
acted the mediator between both of us, because, well, when my mom comes, I mean, I have a tendency to pick at her, like to take my knife and kind of pick at her.
I understand.
Because you asked me, you said, what would I say to my mom?
Yes.
What would I say to her exactly? It would be, Mom, I love you, but I hate your fucking guts at the same time. It's just like that, man. I love you, but I hate you.
You better be in the middle of that conversation.
You see, so I mean, I wouldn't have that conversation with my mom, because I don't know. Like, do you? Yeah, we've had conversations before in the past, but do you know? Like, do you know anybody that's, like the people? Some people have a lot of money, like their nose is up there. They think they're better than everybody. You know, people like that. Rich people that are never wrong, and it has to be like their own way. Like if they're in a restaurant, they'll complain because their fork is crooked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anal people.
I'm guilty of thinking I'm always right too. So, I mean, the richest and the poorest of people, I have all of those qualities. When I start to look at people and their problems, this is why I really love the idea of why we work, because I could see myself in any position doing any of these jobs and having empathy, sympathy, compassion, and just a love for what they do and the difficulties they go through. So to answer your question, yeah, maybe your mom has all of those horrible things as an example, but I know I have those horrible things. And if I was your mom, right, I would probably be the same. I wouldn't probably be, I would be the exact same way, because I grew up in her shoes, her proverbial shoes, to go through what she went through before she had you, what she went through to be with the husband that she was married to. And I don't know, but I know marriage, ask you and your wife, is marriage easy? My marriage is not easy. And we fight.
Marriage is easy. We never argue.
Well, then
we never argue.
You got it made. So we do. And if I'm in someone else's shoes, I would do the same thing. So what I'm learning is not putting it past that if I think that I'm better than the other person because they act the other way,
You what?
if I feel like I'm better than that other person because they act a certain way, then I'm always going to feel better about myself. I'm going to justify my own shortcomings for the faults and the wrong things that they do to me or that they do in general. And then I'm going to feel better by saying, they're never going to do it. I'm going to say, yeah, I love you, but F you. Well, that's not real love. that's not a real love, right? What I would do is think back, like what your mom went through, what your mom tried to do. And do you know what your mom supported you through for many years. And she still supports you at 50. She just bought you a new truck indirectly. So she does love you, but she's having her own difficulty. Maybe her parents were unkind to her, or,
Oh no, I know they were.
right? But it just try to say, Mom, I don't have much time left, and I don't want to say F you. I want to say, Mom, I love you, and please forgive me because I've been I've been something not very nice to you my whole life. And do you know what, Eric? This is what I did with my mom. My mom got in her way. My mom did what she did. And anytime I knew my mom was doing what she did, and how can I say it without disrespecting my mom? If I knew I had an advantage over my mom, I would take that opportunity like that. Anytime that I knew, and I think you know what I'm talking about, there are times on eggshells when you can walk on those eggshells and you knew not to mess around because you definitely weren't going to get what you wanted. But if there was a particular time that you knew if you danced on those eggshells just right because the moon was right, the sun was up, this was going, this was there, you could get exactly what you wanted if you asked the nice way and it was the right time. And I always knew how to play my mom.
Me as well.
She knew she was being played though too, because she longed for that moment that we could have that bond. But because everything was so screwed up, that's the only way we could do it. And it wasn't until, do you know what, Eric? I didn't kiss my mom. I didn't kiss my mom until she was dying on her deathbed. I don't remember kissing my mom, except, as I said, when I was a kid, my mom, give me a kiss or something like that. I didn't kiss my mom until she was like the last couple weeks I was with her. Then I started kissing her and saying, Mom, I love you. And Mom, I love you. And don't let that be you.
I know. I know. It's such a weird toxic relationship. I mean, if you'd say like
it's only toxic. It's only toxic because you're in it.
If you'd ask me, give me one word to describe your mother.
No, give me one word to describe you.
Me?
Yeah, not your mother. She's not here to defend herself.
Asshole.
Okay, then work with that. Say, Mom, I've been an ass. Please forgive me.
I told her that many times. I said, listen, I mean, I'm a piece of shit. I mean,
yeah, but you just, I'm an ass. F you. is that?
No, but see, there you go. I mean, like, I am. I mean, I'm an asshole. I've been a piece of shit. I mean, all these things that have happened to my mom, well, the majority of them are because of me. Because for some reason, I've always had this thing in the back of my head that, well, when I was growing up, I mean, she got to be a psychologist. She made her money on my time. Yeah. I wouldn't see my mother. She'd work during the day. She'd go to school at night so she can get her her master's to be a psychologist. So the years that I was growing up, I didn't really have a mother because she'd work one weekend out of two. So she'd have basically 2 jobs and she went to school at night. So that lasted many years. So I always had this feeling that she made her money and all that. She has everything because she took it on my time. The time that I didn't have a father. I mean, he wasn't around. She was around, but no.
She was trying to support you, though. I told you, my mom had 3 jobs.
Exactly. Like, you just said it, Brian. She was trying to support me. Therefore, I'm here right now. Fucking support me. Keep doing your job then.
No, but not with that. Maybe she will. But wouldn't you love her to support you in a loving relationship?
Yeah, of course, man. But like I said, I mean, Brian, I mean, I'm 49 now. We've always had this, it's always been toxic, our relationship, and it's always been around money. Do you understand? For the last 30 years, it's been around money. Christ,
Because
when I
you
went
want
back,
it and she doesn't want you to learn how to live like that, though. She
well, no, no,
she made
no,
her
the thing is that
mistakes.
she didn't help me out. I mean, I needed something. My parents would buy it for me. They didn't help me out really at all. You know, whenever I needed, whatever I had to be done, whatever trouble I got into, I got
Well, I can't
taken
agree
care of.
with that. They helped you out, but they also hindered you too.
Well, yeah, like exactly. They helped me at that time, you know, for that moment, whatever I needed, but it hindered me more in the long run. It was, you know,
Yeah.
so I I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know if me and my mom are ever going to have a peaceful relationship.
I don't know
We we
either.
we we do, and then when I'm in front of her, I mean, I have to. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'm fake. I'm fake. The vast majority of the time when I'm there, yeah, I'm fake. Because really, I mean, if you'd say, give me one word to describe your mother, to describe me as asshole, my mom is anal. That's the one word that I could say was anal. You know, like I said, those rich people that complain that the fork is set crooked, she's one of those people. And she said some comments about some people and some things that are so friggin' embarrassing, Brian. It's not even fucking funny, man. I was in
Yeah.
her golf club. It's a rich golf club.
Well,
And
before you say that, let's try to keep
yeah, it's true. On the work thing, you're right.
respect for your mom.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's, I
Right?
mean, like,
Like I've said, I mean, this is the worst thing about this culture nowadays, and you're not part of it. We're not part of it. This new culture that comes up looks back 20 years ago and says this person said something. You and I probably said some foolish things in our lifetime
oh, yeah.
that we regret saying. So let's hold your mom at a respectable standard and say she's my mom. She did the best she could, and let's try to. I'm not trying to solve your relationship. I'm just saying your idea of money may have come from the way that she maybe mishandled or she overcompensated. My mom would give me money anytime I asked. She wouldn't give me as much money, but she would give me money anytime I asked at the right situation. Did that help me? No, because I also had friends who were working way harder than I was and right now are making way better money than I am. And was some of that my mom's fault indirectly? Maybe, but it's my responsibility now to make up and do whatever it is I want to do. So the question
Of
is,
course.
what are you going to do? Not so much what she did. You may have come to some of your conclusions based on some of the things she has done. Those are your experiences. But what is now holding you back? She certainly isn't holding you back. She's kind of keeping you afloat in some ways, as she's keeping you in drive, at least with that nice shiny truck. So what is holding you back? Your wife said go to the hospital. I think you would do a good orderly. You want to help people, you get yourself a job, the hospital will keep you until you're 70. They'll wheel you out of there when you die.
That's true.
So I mean, it's a great. I went in the hospital when my mom was there in the whatever, what do they call it? When people are dying, what's that unit called?
Uh,
Palliative care.
Paleontology.
I spent most of my time talking to nurses, the pastor guy, just the people who clean up there, and just seeing how they're doing. Other patients' parents or relatives. I love the hospital. I love any of those types of things because those people are there to help you. And if you want to help people, go to a place like that and get $1. And then you can give that to your wife and let her do with it whatever she wants. You say, I don't need the money. I'm just here to help people, and she'll take your paycheck. So what's stopping you from doing that? Something like that.
Right now it's this COVID-19 thing. Like I
Don't
said
say
earlier,
COVID. Like I said earlier, you can work around that. You can work around that.
the thing is that I mean, there's so much in the hospitals right now
Why are you
that I
afraid?
mean,
That's why you, Eric, come on, man. Let's put
no,
on
no,
our
Brian,
man pajamas and say, listen, you're afraid of COVID?
no, I'm not afraid of it. What I'm not afraid. I don't give a shit if I catch it. But if because to go work, I have to go help others, and that to go work, I bring it home and I give it to my wife or to my kids,
Your kids
my
aren't going to get
father.
it. Your wife, ask your wife, this is what I would do. Ask my wife. I'd say, honey, is it okay if I try to go get a job at a hospital or not? As an example, something like that, whatever job you would say that you'd have a risk. And if she says no, you keep doing what you're doing. And if she's happy with that, then I would do it. But if she says, no, honey, I think you could do it, because actually a hospital is a probably pretty safe place to be. You say you're at the waiter, the restaurant with the mask thing. They have pretty good masks at a hospital and gloves.
No. Listen, bro. I know, but to me right now, if people would ask me, okay, to go work in a senior's home or to go work in a hospital and
Mm-hmm.
that, to me right now, this age is not the money thing. It's like playing Russian roulette. But instead of having just one bullet in the gun, you have between 3 and 5 bullets, and you're playing Russian roulette. That's, to me, like, that's what it is. It's going into the lion's den, and to me, it's an unnecessary risk. Like I said earlier, just for money, it's not. I'm not going to risk my family and that just for money. That's not worth it. There's other ways to make money. There's other ways to live. I've done it for 49 years. Yes, my mom has helped me. Yes, I've given. Do you know I've given back to my mother? I've paid her back 45 grand in my life so far.
Wait. Before you toot your own horn, that means you spent 45 grand of your mom's money. It's not that you
No,
paid back.
no,
Right?
I know,
It's like,
I
hey,
know,
I
but like,
paid 45 grand. Yeah, but you spent it. I mean, that's
that's the thing, though. Is it really that much, or I don't know.
no,
But
it's not about that. I don't think the value of the money for your family is a big deal. I think maybe your mom is hoping from her mistakes that you learn some valuable responsibilities. And I don't know, that's kind of getting off course. And I think it would be nice if your mom saw this, if you had a heart to heart with your mom and not I'm an ass and F you, what would you really want to close this part of it? What would you really want to have? Like, think of as a kid, you must have hugged your mom or kissed your mom or just wish that you guys could walk hand in hand and go get an ice cream or something like that. Like, not F you, mom. There has to be something a little
no,
deeper under the eggshells, you think?
well, I think seriously would be the great to just give my mom a big hug and lift her up, and yeah, and say I love you, mom, and not have these friggin' worries anymore. But we're always gonna have this problem, as long as I.
That was it. I think that was a good thing for you to say. And rather than jump off the bridge of it and say, well, I think we're going to have a problems. How about, I would love to just, maybe your mom's much smaller than you or something, and you just want to pick her up and say, I love you. How about you work with that? How about there's my challenge, the Eric challenge for today
Well,
is
see what I
find,
like to do.
yeah, go
I'd
ahead.
like to. I'd like to give my mom like a big hug and say, "Mom, I'd like you to be my mom again, and I'd like to be your son again. But let's have a normal relationship."
Perfect.
I'd like to. I'd like to. Yeah, I tell her, I said, I'd like to have my mom back. The
Perfect.
same mom that I had before I was 10 years old, before
Perfect.
all the major problems started.
Perfect.
I'd like to get that back. I mean, it's a long time. And I think that, and I tell her, says, you were a psychologist. You know how to do this. You would get your clients and not talk about the problems they had with their parents. How come
Mhm.
you can't do that with me? How come we can't do that together? But you did with everybody else. That's what I was saying, the cobbler thing there, the shoe in the wrong foot, because she did it perfectly with everybody else, but she can't do it with her own son.
Mhm.
So it's like the switch turned off when her work day was done, and then she became that same normal person, which gave us no relationship. And that's, to me, that would be more important than money, than anything, would be to have a relationship with my mother.
Well,
Even
then
if it's
work
for
on that.
even if it's for 5 minutes before she died. Just that, to me, that would be, it would be everything. And like
And
I said, I've always said it's about the family, not about money. Money is important, but family will always be important.
I wonder about this though. You keep saying the cobbler with the wrong. I don't know that, but I think I know what you mean. Like, so the shoemaker made it and they put it on the wrong foot or something along those lines. Is that you say to her, you were a doctor and you could help all these people. But to me, it seems like you were looking at her as the doctor who is trying to fix you and not being your mom at the same time. And that
Yeah,
you might have been going into that relationship saying, I'm not one of your patients, I'm your son. So maybe going into the conversation with the attitude of that she's going to come at it the wrong way and not the right way, even though you know, so even though she might have been the cobbler with the shoe on the wrong foot, you might have been the ass coming in.
I
The
know.
dog coming in first with the, you know, with the wrong attitude, and then both of you are clashing.
Well, see, here, I'll just give you one small example here. How would you feel? I remember when I
Horrible. No matter what you say, it would be horrible. I have a
no, listen.
million horrible stories. I'll listen, but I'm sure it's bad. And it,
Well, no, listen. I mean, I was 26. I was in no, I was 27. I was in London, England. I was co-owner of a bed and breakfast next to next to Buckingham Palace. That's that was pretty good, man. And I was making a lot of money, and I was co-owner manager of a hotel. And I was on the phone with my mom, and she says, "Yeah, well," I said, "How you doing?" So I'm doing okay, and I got a job. He said, "Well, yeah, my friend's here. Her son is a lawyer, and her son is studying to be a doctor." And then they're asking me, "What's your son doing?" And what was their answer? "Oh, he's just driving around. He's just floating around." No, I was a hotel manager in London, England, but no. Oh, he's just floating around. You see, because I didn't fall in that rich man's category, doctor or whatever. I was apart. And it's always been like that. I was always been compared to her rich friends and that to their kids. And, oh, he's a lawyer, he's a doctor. And I'm me.
yeah,
So
I
it
have two
was
children.
always,
I have two children, and I know the temptation of comparing my children to other children. Don't you?
I know. I know that. I know that as well. I
You
have
know,
two as well. Right?
right? That's what I mean. So it's not like it was the rich. It's just who she was hanging out with. Right? With me, it's the Korean kids. You know, like the Korean kids and my kids. Well, are they smarter? And there's the temptation and the reality. The boy. I mean, people mess up all the time, but the reality is, she just wants the best for you. She didn't care
Yeah.
what you were. She didn't care what you became, but you were drifting because you drifted, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't, maybe she meant it as a slight. Maybe she didn't, but you weren't anything in particular because you're still not that thing,
No.
right? Those
I'm,
guys established themselves as careers, which at the beginning of this, you said you wish you had done. And she just wants the best for you. There's no doubt about it. My mom would encourage me and say, I just want that you can do anything. You can do whatever you want. And I was, I'm kind of still drifting. I'm in Korea, right? Or it's, and in some ways I feel like I failed by not being fully established before my mom died. And I think that's unrealistic because I'm working. And you know what? Maybe I'll change a job 5 times before I die. But I think you should look at the attitude that you bring into reconciliation and let her deal with hers and start off with, Mom, no French words, no curse words, as us
no, I
English
know.
say, and just, Mom, I went on BrianVee at Why We Work, and I realized I haven't been holding up my part of the bargain, and I've fallen short. And Mom, all I want to do is have a mother-son relationship, and let us try to put everything to the side. And will you forgive me? Regardless of what she says, Mom, will you forgive me?
That's true. Okay. That's true. But anyways, basically
That's right. Anyways, yeah.
the main question of your show at BrianVee Why We Work.
Yes.
My answer to that is I think that we work because we have to. It's not something that we want to do. We do it because we have to. It's part of the game. Everybody wants to play in the game. Everybody
Well,
wants.
no, I think you're proving, and we both know not everyone wants to.
Well, no, the thing is, it's not that everybody wants it, it's that everybody has to. See, that's the thing. I mean, like this game, whether you want to play it or not, we have no choice. Because really, when you think about it, Brian, is it really, really that important? Do you think that human beings were put on this planet to work like this and to be away from their families for everything? Do you think it
That's a
was made?
two-part question. I would say yes to the first, second to the no, or no to
You
the
see,
second.
because I mean, like things are done because it's for all these little things that we have, like these computers and the laptops and phones and all the things that we don't really need, and they're being put ahead of the important things in life, like food. Like, look, how many people are dying of food and that?
Okay. So I know these sort of talking points, but these to me they're legitimate concerns and legitimate points, but in reality, it gets away from the core issue. So one is our
Yeah,
own
I
family.
know.
our own family. So don't worry about so much. I was told this, and I said this before. My brother-in-law was a little bit perturbed, upset about people who, do social media and do big political, like federal posts, like, oh, this president or prime minister, because we're Canada, president is so bad because of this. And he is American. He's like, I don't know why people do this. Why don't those people spend less time talking about these big problems and spend more time with the smaller issues, like in your local municipality, right? In your local government, like something there. So he's just talking politics, and I'm changing it to talk about work. So yeah, there's problems with computers and cell phones and how many poor people there are and people that don't, but all of those are legitimate concerns. But what about you in your family, in your future? And do you know what your question was? Well, do you think we were put on this earth to work? And the second part was to think about the mighty dollar. Is what it was? Whatever it was, the answer was no. But yes, I think we were put here to work, because work is good. Whatever work you find may be different than the work that I find. The work that you find productive and satisfying may be different than the work that I find productive and satisfying. But what I appreciate is the work that you do. And I could appreciate the work that your mom did, just the work, not the personality, not the characters, separating those things and say, do you know what? At the end of the day, it is good to work. And I'm going to teach my children that it is good for them to work in whatever capacity that they're able to do. And I'm going to teach that from a young age. And maybe you and I didn't get that, right? Maybe we were handed things, maybe you more than me. I don't know. Maybe I was given other opportunities that you weren't given, that maybe hindered me also in a different way. But either way, we have to live now. And still, work is good. Work is a good thing. And I want to paint the picture to say, work is good, and we all have different motivations to do it. Your motivation might be like, if you can't get over forgiving your mom, of I'm going to prove her wrong, and I'm going to be successful at this particular thing. Well, fine, if that's your motivation, but you should find work in and of itself a good thing, and a good thing for you to be able to get up in the morning, whatever, work at nighttime, and produce for your wife, for your children, and in 20 years say, do you know what? I did something good, and there is a direct connection to society. I may not be a farmer who hands over a potato and they hand me a carrot, but I worked in the hospital and I wheeled people who were getting surgery down the thing. And those people who are going through tragic events, whether it's something internal surgery or like a major operation or something like that, I'm helping in my society. And all of these electrical things and things that you're trying to refer to, they're useful. They're useful things for us to do. So I understand what you're saying with the big, but the small is, we need these things. If we don't need them, try living without it. But even then, in the beginning, you said, I like money. I like buying these things. I like a nice shiny truck. You like the telephone that you're on. You like the house that you're living in.
Everybody likes money, Brian. Everybody likes money. But I think there's not one person I know, all right? There's not one person I know that if they didn't have to work, that would work. I mean, if I didn't have to work, I wouldn't work. I work because I have to. I have to pay. I work for this. You see, like my wife would work. If she didn't have to, she'd work anyways.
I would work
but
too.
Other than that,
you got beat. There's 66% right there. We got you beat.
Well, I mean, like to me, like life is important. I mean, like our time here is short. If I didn't have to work and I could enjoy life and all that, and I had the money to keep me going and that, why the hell would I work then? When there's more important things to me in my life, like my family, my kids, and doing stuff with them. To me, that's more important than to bring tables to people at a restaurant. I mean, it's more important to me to be with my family, to be that, because I'm here for such a short amount of time. And when I'm gone, when it's done, it's over, it's over. The work is still going to be here, but my family will not. But work will always be here. So to me, it's more important that family is much more important than money. I love money, of course. I'd love to have a whole bunch of it like everybody else, of course, man. And for that, the only way for me to get that, if I have to work, then I'll work. But like I said, if I didn't have to work, I wouldn't.
Your point is valid.
I would rather do.
Your point is valid.
Many other important things. I would help. I would help a lot of people if I like I said, if I would help. I would go help like in a soup kitchen that's what I would do. if I didn't have to work. But yeah, I work not because I want to, but because I have to. If I could be a firefighter, I would do it because I love that. To me, that would be an exciting job, or construction. But other than that, any other job, whether it's government or whatever, I'm only doing it for the money. I'm only doing it for the man so I can give back the money to the man, put the money back in the economy. That's it. I'm just going to be a good soldier like everybody else. I'm going to be a puppet like everybody else. So I will get my job. But other than that, to be as a person, for me, for what's important to me, it's not work. Work is not important to me, man, because work, if I'm in trouble when I'm 75 years old, work is not going to help me.
No,
My
you're right.
coworkers are going to help me. My
Yeah.
family is going to help me.
Well, you're right. And I totally agree that family is more important than money. But but then you said at the end, well, at the end, when I'm 75, who's going to help me? Your family. Well, how are your family going to help you? Because they work,
Why?
right? Right. I
It's
mean,
not because they work. They can help me. They can help me because they're coming physically to help me do something. It's not
no,
because they're
yeah,
working.
but no, I think you can't separate work or the money
Oh
that
no,
they
I know.
make from the work.
I know
You-
you can't
it-
separate it because listen, you need work to have the money to be able to do all these things in life. You have to work.
Yeah.
Unless you win Lotto Max, you have to work. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Everybody, or
No, I
unless
I agree. The premise of what you're saying is it would be nice, as you said, in the office or the office space, just to do nothing. But I think the majority of the people, a lot of people do that. But I think you wouldn't even do that if you had the money or you
when
had
I,
enough income.
well, when I say
You
like
would get bored after a while.
Well, no, when I say do nothing, I wouldn't sit on my couch and do nothing.
Hmm.
When I say do nothing, I wouldn't do like what is supposed to by society, what I'm supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing like this. No, I would do nothing. I would do what I want to do when I want to do it. Plain
Yeah.
and simple. If I want to go help you, if I see this old couple, they're having problems, they're moving stuff in their house. Hey, I'll go help them. I
Yeah.
don't mind if it's 35 degrees. It's the right thing to do. And I'm not saying that if I would need help, I would want somebody to come and help me, and I know most people would not, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to help people. So I'll help
Hmm.
people as much as I can.
Yeah, I
Because
don't disagree. I don't disagree with any of your points that you're making. It's just that
but it is important to work, though. It is.
yeah, yeah, and I'm not. You asked my question and then answered it, so I understand the kind of the perspective you're coming from. That you're saying family is most important, and I don't think no, I won't say that. Most people would agree with you, right? Most people would agree that family is number one. You get other people who think money is number one, but usually they're either ignorant, um, or they're just off balance for a little while, or when you said when you're 75, they're slapped in the face in reality that says, do you know what? All of that was for naught, right? It was all in vain. It was all meaningless. I was jogging today. I think I was jogging or in my car, and there was an older gentleman. I must have been in my car, and I was waiting at a light, and there was a man. He must have been 85 years old, and he was going as fast as he could, which was not very fast, walking with a cane. And I said to myself, I was jogging today, trying to keep myself fit, and this guy is walking like a turtle. And he knows that all of life, of the things that all the many things he had done and worried about in his life was for no good reason. And I think that's where what you're saying makes most sense, that at the end of the day, what did I value most? Not necessarily what I did each day, because we have to sleep, we have to, we should work, eat, take care of ourselves. We shouldn't what is your motivation to work? So if your motivation is to take care or pay for university for your kids, if that's what something you want, or to go on a vacation, or to buy a new truck or a new house or something like that, then your motivation is intertwined with the work that you do. And that is perfectly fine, right? If your mom, for instance, was working to help pay for, to buy you a house or buy you a car, and you can see all the time, and it wasn't a struggle for you to get the money from your mom. It was like, my mom keeps giving it to me. She just won't stop. She's just gonna give it to me, just like your dad that you speak highly of, but he wasn't around, but he gave you the money that you wanted. If your mom
Yeah.
like directly gave it to you, you might be like, wow, my mom really worked for me. But maybe she had things off kilter. But what you're saying boiled down is perfectly fine. Family should be first. Family should be, people should be first. Maybe not even family, because someone may not have family. They could be all alone. But what they do is they go to soup kitchens, or they go and help the poor, or they go to do all these things. Those are wonderful things to do. But even people who work, if they're doing it for the right reason, then their motivation is right. And what they do may not be for you, and what you do may not be for them. But at the end of the day, I think work is intertwined with the things we do, and we can't live without it. So again, it comes back to you at 50,
Well, yeah.
2020 or 2021, this year or next year. When's your birthday?
2021. April 3rd.
So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a waiter. Like, I wouldn't even knock that. If you wanted to be a waiter until you're 70, 80 years old, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It might get physically demanding, but there's nothing wrong with that. You dislike some of the things, like you can't get a vacation because you don't get paid. That's just the nature of that job. But what can you do, right? And I'll leave you with that, right? Like, what will you do? My suggestion would be to reconcile with your mom, have a different view of the value of work that you can bring to it, because you are young, you're a strapping young man, and you have a lot to offer whatever job that you do. Right? You have a lot. And I think that the issue could be just your view on it, right? What am I going to do? Because you have sour grapes. You have a sour taste to work because you saw how it split up your family, and how the end result was you being neglected, you being left with a babysitter until you're 15, you not getting the things you wanted, which is really small in your view, but it was the only thing. It was either you get this little bit of money or what, no one valued you. So you had a skewed, an offset view of work, and now you've carried it. You said you've carried it all your life. You said it right from the beginning of the interview that you've had it your whole entire life. So my advice would be to reconcile with your mom, to reconcile your view of work, because I think, and not saying what you should do, but what you could do if you really wanted to. And you look, across the living room and look at your wife and see what she wants you to do, or look at your kids and how they would like to see Papa doing a job that he likes, he enjoys, that he's secure at. Because eventually we talk about doing it for our kids. We're going to do this, and we play. We don't always maximize our time with our kids when we can. And guess what? My kids are 10 and 7. They're going to be out of the house in less than 10 years.
Yep.
In 10 years. And then what are you going to say in 10 years? What's your excuse? You're going to be with your wife, and then you're going to be like playing, I don't know your phone regiment, but you're going to play on your phone, or she's going to play on your phone. And then you look back and you're saying, hey, I just told the world that I'm going to maximize my time with my family and not work. But really, we don't maximize our time with our family, and we do what we really want to do. So what are you going to do? Think about that. I would like to talk to you again, Eric.
Okay.
And maybe for your 50th birthday, or in a month or two time, whenever is good for you. If you have some update on, I'd like to hear some update on your mom. And you can tell your mom, what's your mom's name? First name? Claire. You tell Claire, bonjour, Claire, that I would like her and you to have a nice new turned over leaf relationship, one built on forgiveness and a hope on the future, because there's little time left for any of it. We never know. Both of us, we can we can get in a car accident tomorrow and life can be over. And so just don't let that slip away, and try to separate your life experience of work, the sourness of it, and look at the future with the responsibilities you have, and see if you can stop wavering around or floating around.
Okay. Well, anyway, so
What do you think? What do you think about that, Eric? And give me some advice or some encouragement for people. What do you think we should do?
Well, one, you should work in something that makes you happy. That's for sure. You can't just settle for the first job, because believe me, I've been there, and that's changing jobs all the time. But I think, yeah, very important, man. Yes, get along with your parents, because they're here for a short time, and when they're gone, believe me, I mean, the same thing. If I didn't reconcile it good with my mom, if she died tomorrow, I'd feel like crap. I'd get her money, but I'd still feel like shit, because I said it's like the book ain't closed,
Not at all.
and there's nothing that I can do to close that book, because I need her in my presence to close the book. So I think that, yeah, while you still can, I mean, like, talk to the people that you love, and that fix everything you can while you still have that chance, because once they're gone, and once you're gone or they're gone, that's it. That's done. So I think, yeah, relationships are very important with your family members and all that, because, yeah, life is short. And to your question there, Brian, why we work? My answer to that, we work because we have to. And I think that most people would not work if they didn't have to work. I think that most people would not. Not all, but I think most would not if they didn't have to. Would you work if you didn't have to, Brian? If you were a millionaire, would you
Yes.
work?
Yes. And yes. And you know why? I think your wife said affirmative too. She said yes, is
She
because
loves her job, though.
right. And so I would agree with you if you said that most people wouldn't choose the job that they have. They would prefer to do something else, right? A
That's
dream, a
true.
desire. You play guitar. Maybe you would like to be a musician, or, something different, or, you'd like to be a hotel manager or something like that. People would like to do different jobs. I would say most people would like to do different jobs, but they're afraid to do it. They're afraid to try. They're afraid to jump out and reach out and do that sort of thing. But I believe, as you asked about religion, is that we've been put here to work, right? Adam and Eve were put in the garden. He said, till the ground. So there's work. But the problem is sin. The problem is sin. And in sin, it makes work hard. But even though it's hard, we still do it. Man, I don't love seeing anything more than like a man's hands who's been digging in grease and fixing a car with the rent, like the hard work, or like a wood chopper, forgive my a wood logger of sorts, or someone just doing some hard labor work, or a waiter, right? So on their feet, as you know, for long periods of time, having to deal with certain types of people who, you have a lot of orders. It's a busy time, or it's not a busy time and you have no orders and you have no tips, or you're getting laid off. It's all hard, but that we find some joy in those things. So I agree that not everyone would do particular jobs, but I disagree. I think I would certainly work doing something. I love doing this.
Well, see, if it's a job you love, like my mom, if she didn't have to work, but she retired now, but if she didn't have to work, she would work anyways, because she loved the psychologist.
Yeah.
If I was a firefighter and I didn't have to work, I would still be a firefighter.
Yeah.
But most people on this planet work at a job just, well, to pay bills and stuff like that. So really, I mean, if you didn't have to work, like, for those who work in the government, do you know any people that when they were young says, I want to work for the government one day, I want to be a clerk?
Koreans.
Well, okay. Well, in Canada, then do you know many Canadians that would say, I want to work for the government? No, I
Yeah.
want to work for the city. No. So I think that those are jobs, like people that work in the government, like my best friend, he makes
Some people
67.
do. Some people do. Government's pretty secure
Like
position.
my best friend, he makes $67,000 a year at the government, and if he didn't have to work, believe me, he would not work, because that is not what he chose to do. He wanted to be like a social worker. Look what he's doing now. So most people, they want to be something, and then they end up doing something else because we settle. And you said people don't want to change, but because if you've been at a job for 5 or 10 years, where you've got vacation build up, you've got pension and all that, and if you quit to get something else, you're starting from scratch again.
Yeah.
That's what scares people
it's
most.
Scary. It absolutely.
And
it's scary.
It scares me a lot as well. I'm a waiter. I mean, I've done waiter for a long time, and it pays very well in that. I'd love to get another job where I can have a pension in that, but I'm scared, man. I don't want to start from scratch again. After so many years at a job, you're making higher money as well. You start a new job, you're going to make less money.
Yep.
You know? So you have to meet new people. So I think it's more the fear. But yeah, I think I'll correct myself. If people didn't have to work, but they worked in the job that they always dreamed of, most people would work.
Yeah.
I think that most people on the planet work in a job that is just a job to pay
Yeah.
for their bills and
Yeah.
cars and kids and that.
Hmm.
And I think that when you're just working in a job, I think if you didn't have to work, but it's not your dream job, most people then would not work.
Absolutely. I agree with
Yeah,
that wholeheartedly.
yeah. Like my wife, she's a special ed teacher in school.
Yeah.
She loves it with a passion.
Yeah.
If she didn't have to work, she would do it anyways. My mom was a psychologist. Me, if I'm a waiter, I love being a waiter. If I didn't have to work, I wouldn't do it. But
Hmm.
like I said, if I was a firefighter, I would be a firefighter until I'm 99 if I could,
Hmm.
because I love that.
You could be
So,
a volunteer firefighter, couldn't you? They always take volunteer
no, it's the
firefighters.
same thing. No, it's with my knee and my compressed lower back. I can't. It doesn't
You,
pass. Like, the physical for the CSST and the national insurance here.
what
That's the
about a
problem.
driver or a hooker or something like that? Just a go-getter, just hold the dog or something in the fire department
I
as a
know.
volunteer. I mean, just as a volunteer to get that itch out of there. Clean the fire truck.
But Brian, and I've thought about it, and I know I'd like it and all that, but I think that first I'd like to get my life put in order, get myself, like a regular, for everything put in order
Yep,
before I jump into that phase.
I
For
agree.
now, volunteer anywhere when I don't even have a steady full-time job right now,
Yep,
because the restaurant business is going out. So
yep.
what am I need, I need money. I need to survive. I need to pay for all these things like the truck and all that. I have to pay for everything. So I mean, I have no choice. I need money. But yeah, if I didn't have to be a waiter, I wouldn't be one.
If I was you, Eric, I can see you. I don't know why. Maybe it's something that you said, but whether at a senior's home, right, working, and I could, and I don't have any vision, special visions or anything, but just get your resume ready and throw it out there, and in your free time, you're not working 24 hours a day, and just go to some of these places. And even if you have to start, I mean, you said starting at the bottom or starting lower.
You
I
always
mean,
start at the bottom
what is
to the
better?
top.
Making the money you're making now, but in a couple of years it stops, or starting lower and then working for the next 20 years?
Starting lower work for the next 20 years. I know that. I know that. But same thing, going to a senior's home, I can't do that. I mean, Brian, would you be able to change a senior citizen's diaper?
Well,
Christ, I had problems changing my own kids' diapers.
you originally mentioned the senior citizen, so I thought that was kind of a thing, but
Well,
um,
I'd help her and all that, but I mean, like changing their diapers is something that that's something that I can do. I can do anything else for them, but I mean, I cannot change their diapers, and
yeah.
that's basically what you got to do in seniors' home. I couldn't even do it for my own kids.
Well,
I'd have to tell.
there's lots of jobs in a hospital, right? You could work in a cafeteria, you could work in laundry, you could work as, I don't know if it's orderly or whatever, but you could be transferring people from one place to another, not necessarily doing diapers, but just a hospital is a place that's never going anywhere. Restaurants are up and down, right? But hospitals are not going anywhere, just like the government's not going anywhere unless it gets
Well,
tough.
right now, Brian, I mean, I'm doing like applications and that.
Good.
I'm going to apply many jobs at the hospital. I've thought about it already because the hospitals are hiring right now because of this friggin'
Absolutely. And there's
So
people
they
on
are
the one
hiring.
side, some people are saying, I can't do it now. But I'm trying to tell you or encourage you, you can do it. If
I
that's
know.
something you want to do, you can do it. Eric, get off the phone with me and look at your resume and see how you can direct it towards a hospital. Um, I mean, hospitals are great. I just think they're great. And then start something like that, you know. And there's no. I mean, I think your wife would. I don't think she would say, "Oh no, Eric, you're going to get the corona." I don't think she's going
No,
to
no,
say
no.
that.
She doesn't mind about that. See, I'm the one that minds about that. Not for me getting it, like I said, but if
Well,
just to go,
listen, you text messaged me something a little while ago, so I think your whole plan could be predicated on that, and then every excuse that comes out of your mouth is actually based on that. So
well,
this is
no,
why I'm not following the whole corona thing. So
no, yeah, it could be the thing. See, but I mean, like there is a part of me that says, if I'd get a job in that, that's not a problem. And if I get the coronavirus, I don't give a shit about that because I mean, I'm more than likely just going to pass it. But If because of my job I get it and I transmit it, let's say, to my father, and my father dies because of it,
What
and
about
then
the restaurant? How do you know? What's the chances of you getting not even chances, because you're going to say higher, but how do you know that you're not going to get the coronavirus at your job tonight at the restaurant, at the guy who you serve food from? They don't have it 100% quarantined. So you're
no,
at just as much risk there as you are as,
well, no, the thing is that the thing, Brian, know is the hospitals. Hospitals are they're the hotbeds for those things. Not anywhere else. It's the hospitals. The one in Gatineau, there's so many cases in the hospitals. People that start working there,
yeah.
more than half of them, they end up with the virus within a week because the hospitals are full of it. Not the restaurants, not the stores, not because there's none. Basically, there's none around here. Only in hospitals.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you're trying me, and my wife's telling me, yeah, you should go.
Then
Well,
get a
hold on, man.
job. There, get a job. No, I don't want to hear it, Eric. I don't want to
No,
hear it
that's
anymore. No
that's
more.
like being a lamb. That's
No,
like being a lamb and going to plant a
sacrifice
whole
the
bunch of
lamb.
wolves.
No, sacrifice the lamb. Go get a job
Yeah,
at the
I know.
hospital.
I
Oh,
know,
come
but
on. Come
like I
on,
said,
Eric. Tabernacle.
that text,
Isn't that what they say
right?
in French? Come on.
Yes, that text I sent you has a lot to do with it as
It
well.
does. Well, then get it out. Just go to work. Go
I
to work,
know.
Eric.
I'm
Don't give me
trying.
that.
This
Look,
week is
you're wearing
crazy.
green right now. You look like a guy that I would see going down the thing pushing a senior
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Get that out of your system. But a green shirt with a little chain, you're ready. You speak the French to the ladies, the English, and you would be all right. You would have a great old time.
En ik habla español un poquito.
Oh, no, well, there you go. Well, then
And ik can speak in
it's
Nederlanders. I can speak Dutch as well.
so there you go.
Hold on 2 seconds. Oh.
Au revoir.
Oh, it's our wedding anniversary today.
Oh, he's gonna go get
She
a
just told
job.
me that. Oh, I forgot.
Happy wedding anniversary. His gift is coming.
Ton ami de Corée.
Oui.
Salut.
Hello, this is
Salut.
Megan. That's the oldest one. She's
Bonjour.
9. She's going to be 10 in next month.
Nice to meet you.
There you go.
There you
So
go.
she's going to grade 5 next year.
Two reasons.
The other one, the youngest one, she's 7. She's going to grade 2. She's gone camping with her friend for 3 days.
Your kids are the same age as mine.
Yeah. Well, Maya, she's going to be 10 next month, and Amy is going to be 8 in November. So yeah, they're about the same. Close enough.
So Papa's gonna go work in the hospital. They're gonna love you.
And I've been married since 2009. 1 year. Yeah. Well, you got 2007, right?
7, yeah.
Yeah. So me, it was 2 years after.
So Eric, this has been great. I think you beat a record. I have been speaking with you for 2 hours and 12 minutes. The first time I looked at the time, but I think we don't want to repeat what we've said. And I think we've said a lot and you've said a lot, and I truly appreciate this conversation. But I also want to challenge you to use this time to look for a job.
I will do.
Unless don't get me wrong, unless you're satisfied with being a waiter, but I think you're having difficulty just because they're not getting enough work.
It's not stable. It's not a stable job.
So a hospital, I mean, or military or all this, but if you can't get in any of those, a hospital is a great place. It's, respectable job. I don't care what your mom says if she didn't like it or not. It's a great place for someone to work, but we do. We care because we love our moms. And so reconcile with your mom and say, start by, today your wife is gone, your daughter's gone, your other daughter's gone. Look for the job. Start today. As I said, the guy that there's no reason why people should be stopped. It's not like, oh, the world stopped. Don't watch the news. Don't do any of that stuff. Don't pay attention to any of those things unnecessarily, and get your gear, get that truck going, get yourself in drive and throw away anything that's hindering you, because it's not going to do you any good. And if at the very least you put whatever is hindering you in the back seat or in the back of the truck, or just put it off to the side and get yourself going. And then if you still need it, if you still want to, whatever you ever do or need in life, then bring that with you as well. But in the meantime, just pass it off and work for your family, right?
Will do.
There's no other way.
Once I have this job situation,
I want 10%.
We'll go back on air, me and you, and then we'll talk about the new job.
Did you hear me? I want my 10%.
Yeah, I know. Ask Mrs. Lee.
I'll take 5, maybe 4.
Call Ewa and ask if you can talk to Mrs. Lee and ask her
Mrs.
to
Lee.
give me 10%.
Do you know what? She offered me a job in her new hagwon after that.
Really?
Oh yeah, she started another one, Mrs. Lee. She was nice.
Oh yeah, I think she was nice.
Very nice.
Listen, do you remember when I was
careful.
there? And
be careful when
did
you
a
ask me,
runner.
do I remember?
No, but I did a runner. You remember that?
No, we
I-
don't remember that. We don't remember anything bad, Eric. We don't remember anything bad.
All I remember about Ewa, listen, is I remember doing a runner overnight. 9 months later, calling him again, they gave me a job, more money for 2 years, and I did a runner on him.
Eric, 50, 49, close to 50. Going to start looking for a job and a career, and you're going to do your mama proud. And you're going to do your mama proud because your mama did a lot for you.
Yeah, I know.
Even though she failed you, just like my mom.
I know.
But we fail our children. You can't tell me you don't fail your daughter.
Yeah, I do. We all do.
We do. So when we realize we're all in the same boat, we're not going to be trying to chuck one another off because we're all in the same boat here. And we're about in the same position, in the same shape. So go call your mom, go have a meeting with your mom, take some time, think about it, get a clear head about it, and reconciliation, forgiveness, and go start a new career. Why? Why not?
We'll do.
Okay,
and
Eric.
I'll stay in touch with you. I'll keep you posted on my updates.
Eric, the day you get a new job, I want to talk to you again.
Will do.
Yeah, maybe the day you start it. Not that they offer you the job. You just told me the day after you start your first day.
Just wait maybe a week after I started the job first.
Okay.
I have a tendency to get a job and leave within a week usually. So.
No more. No more. That was in your 50s. You the first 50 years you can say that, and now hereafter, this is like I took things seriously. So honestly, Eric, you think about it, you can be an encouragement to other people, other kids, other people who are 20, 30, 40, 50 and say, listen, I mean, I can do that for most of my life too. It's just like kids, people, doing this doesn't work. And you know what? I had to wake up to the reality that it didn't work, regardless of what, what like a philosophical view of the world and, everything is bad. And I'm just going to just hunker down and be stubborn about it rather than living like that. Just live for your family. Don't live against the world because the world don't give two what is it en français? A merde, right? They
in
don't
French,
give,
go
ahead.
In French, you would say, le monde s'en calisse.
Le monde s'en calisse.
Le monde s'en calisse. People don't give a shit, man.
People don't
le monde s'en calisse.
They don't care. They don't care.
I know people don't care.
People don't care about you, Eric, sitting on your sofa. No one here cares specifically. So you can be mad as you want to be mad, and no one cares because people are going to go get theirs. So why don't you say, I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to take care of mine. And you know what? In my day-to-day operations, I'm going to help that old lady across the street. I'm going to go help put out a fire or something over here. And I'm going to do these things because that's what's important to me. And that puppy dog right there.
He wanted to say hi.
Right? So those things. So I want some progress. So I do care. I do care. I want to see progress. I want to see progress, however you want to say it.
Okay, well, I will keep you posted.
And your wife will hold you accountable, and your children too.
Yeah, and now I'm going to go see my wife because, well, it's our wedding anniversary, and I forgot. So I gotta
tell her you left the present in the new truck. No,
exactly.
Tell the present is the truck. I just bought it for you early.
That's what I said. I told her I'll try it. But anyways, yeah. So Brian, let's say thanks for speaking to me, and I'll stay in touch, man, to let you know what's going on.
You're gonna let me know when you get a new job.
Yeah, to let you know, what's going on. New
be
job.
active. Be active, and anything else. Don't get me wrong. Anything else, but be active about it. No one's gonna come find you for a job. That doesn't happen.
Brian, we'll stay in touch because listen, I was in Korea for 3 years. You're one of the people that I spend the least amount of time with, but you're the only person I still speak with from Korea. Even though I still got friends over there, we don't speak. It's been years. You're the only one I still speak to.
Well, Eric, I did like you then, and I do like you now, and I hope the next time we talk, we have some news to share.
Yeah. Well, one day when we're not on air, we can talk about that first night there at Kiss and Kiss. That was fun, man. That was fun. But anyways, yeah, we will speak again, Brian.
Au revoir, Monsieur Eric.
All right.
Merci
You have
beaucoup.
yourself a good day. Say hello to the family.
Bye.
And we'll speak. Bye. See you later, man.
No kiss and kiss.